Hi, I'm Paul from Velo. It's January 2024, so Happy New Year to you all. Come join me today on a reflective bike ride where I think about how cycling has impacted my mental health over a 20 plus year period of being a lifelong cyclist. Let's go. So, cycling and mental health. I think if some of you watch our YouTube channel, you'll kind of understand and have a breadth of mine and my wife's love of cycling, and hopefully our passion for it comes across. I've been cycling all my life and I absolutely love it. Especially as I've got older, I'm kind of acutely aware of how important it is to maintain my mental health. Now, whilst I'm not a mental health practitioner, I wouldn't necessarily say I suffer with any debilitating mental health problems. I am aware of the impact it has on my life, and by it being there, how my life is enriched, and how at the worst times of my life it keeps me positive and is just such an enjoyment. I'm a mechanic, I obsess about bikes, I fix bikes, I ride bikes, and I love it. For me, cycling is, dare I say, everything. It's a huge part of my life, and it's how I meet people. It's so it's sociable, fitness, just encompasses everything. If I'm feeling a bit obsessive, more anxious, it's a good medium for me to focus on, and I build wheels, super meditative. I'm on my road bike at the moment, and just the repetitiveness of turning the pedals for me is pure meditation, and I absolutely love it. So I'm not sure where I'd be without cycling in my life. Thankfully, I don't have to think about that because it is in my life, and it's in my life in a big way. I've always had a bike in my life, and through my 20s, I mountain biked, which was a huge social thing. Lots of gatherings, always meeting up with people to go mountain biking, and loved it. Lots of trips to Wales. And as I've got older, I've done more touring. I'm really interested in folding bikes. I love folding bikes. And I've recently, probably over the last 5 years, got really into road biking on my vintage/retro road bike. I've also got into audaxing since I moved back to Bristol, and that is just wonderful, just to have this meet up with people, so sociable. And already I've only done a few audaxes, and I've already got a little group of friends that I do it with. So, I've always found cycling to be super accessible. Now, cycling, there's so many genres of cycling, and people get involved in cycling for so many different reasons. It could be that they wish to get fit, they wish to be out and about. I mean, it's January, I'm out on a bike ride, and I can see loads of people on their bikes. Maybe for the first time, there's a few clean bikes out there, and it's great. And the impact for people just to be out and about, it's not a miserable day, it's a bit cold, but for me, I can't not cycle all year round. It's just really important for me to be getting out, and it's part of the challenge as well, and I think that's where cycling comes into it. I've always been into the outdoors, and it's not suffering, but it's challenging yourself or pushing yourself, having goals, and that's what cycling gives me as well, giving me kind of things to aim for. And again, that I just think is very positive in people's lives. If we don't have something to aim for, it doesn't have to be intense, but I do think it is important. It could just be something very basic. I know some people get into cycling because they love its fitness and it's all about racing and stuff, and that's great, and it's for them. I would hope that me and Sarah get across in our YouTube channel that we're certainly not at that level, and we're certainly not elitist in any way. We have very much our specific areas of cycling that we like, but cycling it doesn't have to be one-dimensional. It's three-dimensional, and you can get into it for whatever reason. Whether it's you just want to cycle to the shops. I've met people where they just cycle to the shops on their bikes, but it's everything for them. And that regular contact with a bike is just super important. And I love coming back to Bristol, where it's such a cycle hub, I guess. There's such a breadth of cycling. On Saturdays and Sundays you see all your roadies out, and then through the week you see your mountain bikers out, and it's going to turn, woohoo! And it's great, people using bikes to get their children round, delivering. It's all there, and that kind of breadth of cycling is really evident here, and I love it. And that's why I would really love to get across in this video that I'm not talking about one specific area of cycling. You know, cycling can be anything, and it just depends what it means to you, and that's the beauty of it. And I think that's the beauty of a lot of outdoor sports. I've participated in a few. I used to be an outdoor instructor. I used to do a lot of canoeing. I used to take young people up mountains in Scotland. I had my mountain leader qualification, which enabled me to do a lot, but I've always come back to cycling, and for me cycling's always been a very friendly and accessible sport, or leisure activity. And yeah, I believe it's everything. I think that the motion of cycling is really good, the socialness of cycling. You know, I could get by with my later years, so I'm 41 now, not that old, but I could probably get through my later years just cycling 3-4 times a week, going to cafes and just chatting with friends, and that it makes me so happy. And I've heard stories of, you know, where people get into cycling and, you know, they lose weight, or it's just really had such a positive impact. There's some people on YouTube where this has happened to, and cycling's changed their lives. So whether this is, you know, about mental health, this video, or it's more me promoting and saying get on your bike, you know, it is just wonderful. I'm into road cycling. I'm not saying it's all an easy ride. There's certainly some things that some situations that go the other way, like people coming too close to you in cars. So all of you in cars, please take heed, you know, that type of thing. But again, that's a stress for me to overcome, and for me, road cycling, the benefit of it outweighs it. I guess the things for me that really I love at the moment about cycling is when, let's say I'm doing a 40-mile ride, and the ride will have its characteristics, but then there's sections that will just stay in my memory. Let's say a nice flat section where I'm doing loads of miles, and, you know, I'm eating up, say, 10 miles in 45 minutes, and, you know, that'll just live with me for a whole week, and I'll take so much pleasure. I mean, this ride today, I'm out on the downs in Bristol. It's a pleasant-ish day. There's nothing too bad. There's no rain. I'm chatting to you guys. Love it. I think it's just, you know, it'll stay with me, and I'll be so happy for the rest of the day. And can I really pinpoint what it is? It's just everything. You know, for me, definitely cycling is everything. It's every aspect of my life. There's not a day that goes by where it's not in my life, and it doesn't have to be that obsessive. You know, but I would encourage people, if you want a sport or leisure activity to get into, cycling is brilliant, and it doesn't have to be majorly expensive. Ideally, you know, you should go to like a second-hand bicycle charity and see if they can sort you out with a bike relatively cheap. My brother went to one recently and got a bike for his partner, 160 quid. I'm not saying that everyone's got that money in their bank, but for me that's accessible in terms of getting involved in other sports or leisure activities. Why I say go to a bike charity is they generally keep the bikes in really good order, so it's quite a good idea. In Bristol we've got like Life Cycle, they do it in Moorfield, and we have Bristol Bike Project. You know, these are good people to get bikes from, and just start cycling. You know, if you just do a mile a day, it's not, no one's out judging you. It's about just going out and being on your bike. I mean, some of my best rides are the tiny little rides that me and Sarah do where we go to a coffee shop and we just have the most fun. You know, it should be whatever you want it to be. If you want to go out, and involvement is going and getting in clubs, getting involved with clubs, being social, meeting new people, excellent. You know, it's all depends on what it is for you, and that's what is so good about it. I love having all my cycling kit. Over my life I've collected lots of kit that I love. You know, if I'm feeling a bit unmotivated, I might be like, oh, I'll buy myself a new pair of gloves. You know, and this is, I'm not spending loads, I'm not spending hundreds, you know, this is over like 10 plus year period, and I keep with all my stuff until it wears out. But it's just little bits like that. Oh, winter's coming up, right, I get my winter clothes out. And I love cycling in winter, I absolutely love it. As long as there's no ice around. If there's ice around, it's time to head to the forests. That's where having a mountain bike comes in. But it's, you know, I just love it. I love wrapping up warm. In some regards, cycling in winter's easier because you can wrap up for it. Summer's a bit more difficult because you have to kind of think about what am I taking. But all through the year, cycling, as I've said, it's my life. And, you know, I hope that, yeah, if people watch the video, they can take some inspiration from my love of cycling. If you watch our YouTube channel, you'll see the different areas of cycling that we're into. Like I said, I'm a mechanic, so it's part of my day-to-day job. I build hundreds upon hundreds of wheels a year for customers, and I love that process of being able to build wheels and specific kind of custom products for people. Just going to do another turn. And, you know, riding wise, it's, for me, it's progression. You know, I love cycling through winter and getting to the other side of winter and, you know, being really fit, ready for the summer season. Touring, cycle touring, woohoo, I love it, absolutely love it. Haven't done as much recently as I would like, mainly due to we've got an elderly dog and we don't like to leave him by himself, so he's kind of our motivation for that. So if we do go away, it's generally we'll support, myself or Sarah will support each other riding, but that works for us and that's great. And Mikey, is our dog, is a love of our life, and yeah, it's just really important. Like cycling, to us, cycling for multi-days, going and seeing friends on bikes. A trip I'm about to plan at the moment is going over to Belfast to see my friend. Not 100% sure of how I'm doing it. Kind of thinking of going up to Liverpool, getting the boat across. I'm a bit reluctant to fly, but we'll see how it pans out. But again, that's a little bit that I can think about. Go and see another part of the world. My friend's from there, so I get to see him, and that'll just be a wonderful trip. I love cycling in France, cycle touring in France, and there's so many lovely routes in France, but mainly in the UK from Sustrans. You know, if you want to go and cycle and you don't want to be on the road and you just want some time out to ride alongside a friend, chat, you know, be away from traffic, there's so many routes. If you look up Sustrans, check out their map. There's loads of routes and everything that you can put together, small rides. I mean, I take my parents on a short ride from Bitton towards Bath on the cycle path just to Salford, and we have a great day. We did a ride on our Bromptons. It was a glorious day. We talk about it all the time. How is that? I think we just did 3 miles and we had the best time there. They're 2 Bromptons out of my Brompton, and for me it just ticked all the boxes. Audax seems to be a thing that's creeping into my life. Nice, I've got my next Audax at the end of the month. So Audax is basically it's a long distance cycling organisation. I wouldn't say I do the long distance. Over Christmas people were doing like 1,000 kilometres. My motivation is kind of 100 kilometres. Maybe I'll work up towards 160, because for me that's a nice day out with friends and I get to meet some people. And it's great. The last one I did, we turned up in a car park. There was about 50 or so cyclists, you know, everyone really into cycling. It's not competitive. You pay a nominal fee of say £8 and you go and do a route, and it's always usually a lovely route that someone's given you. You put it into your GPS or you can have it printed out, and then you get a card that gets stamped along the route. So you get stamped cafe or a meeting place, and then you may have a question about somewhere on your route to prove that you've been in that direction. And I absolutely love it. Sarah is going to do her first one hopefully in March, my partner, so that'll be great. I'm going to probably do it at my Brompton. It's a 50-kilometre one, and you know, we're talking about it, thinking about it, and you know, another thing to really think about and look forward to. And I think as humans, we like that. You know, we like to have things to look forward to, especially January, when we've been looking forward to Christmas and New Year, and then it's all like back to earth with a bang, isn't it? You know, so to have those things to look forward to. So Audax is working really well for us. It's not competitive, suits our kind of approach to cycling. So yeah, a few things that keep me motivated to get on the bike and get out and about. There we go. I mean, I'd love to hear your experience of cycling and how it affects your mental health. I think it would be great if people could comment and share their feelings on it, because obviously I can only give a certain amount of perspective. I try and be articulate, but it's not always the best, so you know, so I can only talk about it from just a love of cycling, really. So it'd be great to hear other people's points of views. And yeah, as always, me and Sarah will reply to comments and, you know, engage with people as we like to. So I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone. We're currently on 3,047 subscribers, so I guess we must be doing something right to have all of that in just over a year. So yeah, I'd like to say a big thank you to all those that have subscribed, and it seems as though after a recent poll you all like me doing silly stuff on the Bromptons, so hopefully we'll keep that going. So yeah, please share your thoughts and please subscribe. Thanks for watching.